That's all right. Srca, I'll come to your defense.
The buses are 24, 28, and 40 feet long, Srca.
You are live, Mayor Hudson.
Okay, let's call to order the regular meeting of December 14th for the City Council. Before the roll call, the city attorney has an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Assembly Bill 361 suspends certain provisions of the Brown Act, allowing meetings like this one to be held by teleconference to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Please recognize me after the roll call to confirm certain matters for the record. Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Here.
Councilmember Perkins,
Here.
Councilmember Zafar,
Here.
Vice Mayor Veros,
Here.
and Mayor Hudson.
Here, recognizing the city attorney.
Thank you. And based on responses to the roll call, please let the record reflect that all council members can hear the proceedings clearly. And if there are no objections, please let the record reflect that each council member believes, based on voice or facial recognition or otherwise, that all people representing themselves to be council members are in fact council members.
Yeah, they look familiar.
Okay, seeing no objection, I'll turn the meeting back over to you with a reminder that all votes must be taken by roll call.
Okay, please join me on the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Announcements. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda tonight?
There are none this evening.
Okay, if we have a request to change tonight, we don't. Let's call to order. What's our next item? If you wish to speak under public comment on regarding an item, please click the raise your hand button on your computer or *9 on your telephone to request to speak when public comment is being taken. You will then be unmuted when it is your turn to make your comments for up to 3 minutes. After the allotted time, you will then be remuted. Okay, I've got one person that wants to speak, but you can't possibly want to speak to 3 point. No, I can't. Boards, committee, and commission meetings. A complete list of upcoming meetings may be found on the city's website at www.sanramon.ca.gov. Subscription service is available at the link for automatic meeting notification. Contact the city clerk with questions 925-973-2539. Now public comment is open. I'll bet you that's what those hands are up for. At this time, the public is permitted to address the city council on items that are on the consent calendar, including a request to pull an item from the consent calendar, requests for future agenda items, special presentation items under section 6. Do we have anything on section 6? I don't think so tonight. And items that are not on the agenda and are within the city council's jurisdiction. Public comment is now open. If you wish to speak under public comment, as I told you before, raise your hand on Zoom or dial *9 on your telephone. And there are 3 people that wish to speak. We can still do 3 minutes. That'll be fine. Please bring them in, starting from the top. Call in user number 1, then Juanita Lunar, then Annika Colin. Call in user number 1. You have 3 minutes. We can hear you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I would like to pull consent calendar 5.12, 5.13, and 5.14.
Hang on. I'm trying to remember what we had on that thing. Can you do it? 5.12, 5.13, and 5.14. If you had to do it ahead of time, I'll do them anyway for you. So it's 5, 12, 13, and 14. They will be on deferred items.
Mr. Mayor,
Pardon, go ahead.
just a reminder that you may ask the speaker to give reasons and comment on these items during public comment, and then the council would then have the option of pulling all or some of those items from the consent calendar.
Okay.
When the motion is made.
Yeah, I was looking at the same thing because I'm sitting here trying to figure out they're going to be 7, 5, 12, 7, 5, 13, 7, 5, 14. Anything in particular? Oh, she's gone. Okay, Juanita Luna.
Would you like me to bring her back in?
No, we'll do it. I'll learn my lesson and.
Okay.
Hi,
It's Juanita. Okay, I'll
Yes.
be quick. Thank you so much for hearing my comments. This will not be a surprise to you. This is about in San Ramon, the Nob Hill Rayleigh's Grocer. I've been a resident for almost 22 years with my husband on Lilac Ridge and the Bridges, and just strongly support. I know you've had overwhelming feedback, but I just really wanted to add my feedback to just the great service. It's a great community, I think, and they service our great community so well. I think the uniqueness is that it's not unique. I think the service and product that Nob Hill affords is reaches across all demographics. It's not specialized. It's not unique. It doesn't cater to only one demographic. I think whatever you are, this wonderful grocer services the community. It's a great location. As I said, I've been going there forever, and I actually meet people. I've met people there because it's just such a great community. And I really, really hope we can keep it. I appreciate all that the council has done. I'm really glad to see what happened with the apartment complex. So I think you all do a great job in servicing the community, but I just wanted to continue to lend my support of Nob Hill Grocer. Thank you.
Thank you, Juanita. Richard Adler. Richard Adler. You have 3 minutes. Yes, Richard.
Geez, my printer just started. I wanted to also echo the last speaker's comments about Nob Hill Market. I've lived in San Ramon for 24 years. I use the marketplace on a regular basis. I like the shops there. I use CVS on a regular basis. I'm concerned about the development in the future at that location. I think it really helps obviously the residents in that area to have a market. Nob Hill's a good market. And I also have, concerns about the demolition of that marketplace. It provides not only a valuable service, but it prevents people from having to drive out of that area. And even when we do have some housing built in that area, they're going to need it. And as well as looking into the future of the branch housing plan, that's also in that vicinity. And I think they're also going to benefit from using that development. This will also help, cut down on traffic. It's really, a lot of the residents, it's within walking distance. And while I'm glad that the developer has withdrawn plans for the 5-story unit, I still have some concerns about the sports basement, how that fits in with the master plan. I know we love our walking paths, and I think that should also kind of tie everything together with that portion of the marketplace. So that's really what I wanted to say. I just wanted to be coordinated with the neighborhood, and I look forward to seeing the formal application from the developer in the near future and possibly be back to comment on that. Thank you very much. And again, happy holidays.
Same to you. Thank you, Richard. I see no other attendees wishing to speak. Therefore, we will close public comment and move on to consent calendar items. Consent calendar items are considered routine and acted upon by a single action of City Council. Members of the audience wishing to provide public input may request by email to the City Clerk under item 4, public comment. That's what I was thinking about way back then, but not knowing, I just said, I'll pull them on mine. City Council may remove item. Anyone on the City Council wishing to remove any items? 12, 13, and 14 have been removed. Seeing none.
I'm sorry, one other point, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
That one of the items that's been requested to be pulled was the
14.
ordinance.
Yes.
And that was a public hearing that was previously closed by the council. So if the council does decide to pull that item, they would have to vote to reopen the public hearing.
Okay, I was going to read the ordinance anyway, but I know where you're going this thing. I want to find out what she wants. I'm not going to open up unless somebody on the council wants to vote to do it, and it would take, I believe, a 4/5 vote. But I will hear what the objection is, if that's okay, and then I'll read the ordinance to do 514. Anyone wishing to vote on 151 through 511? I see a motion, Perkins.
Yes.
I can second.
Second, Safari. You got to be quicker, Armstrong. You want to get in with those two. Any further discussion on 5-1 through 5-11? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Veros,
Yes.
and Mayor Hudson.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's a 5-0 vote. The next one's the highlight of the evening, Vice Mayor. We have a recognition, item 6 of, and I'm going to turn it over for introductions by Vice Mayor Veros and Ramashu Imadi. You have the floor, Sridhar.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Hudson. Let's bring Ramesh onto this call. I see that he's on the call.
So is AJ
AJ, Anika. Cool.
and Annika.
Can you guys hear me? This is Ramesh
Yes.
Mari.
We can hear you.
Yes, Ramesh, yeah.
Hi, this is Ramesh Mari, and thanks for giving me the opportunity this evening to introduce some of the youth players. And before we jump onto that item, and I want to first thank the mayor, city council members, city manager, and city staff for all the support over last several years for the promoting the youth cricket program in the city of San Ramon. And today I want to talk, before I introduce the players, I want to quickly talk about youth organization and the growth, and want to quickly give an update and thank the city council just for the successfully concluded international youth tournament. And then we'll get into the main agenda item for this evening for me, which is introducing the 4 players from our community who got selected into the USA national team. And just to talk about, share some quick details about the Srca Youth Organization. Srca Youth is established several years back, but it picked up the steam in 2016 with about 30 youth members joining our competitive program, and with support of the city council, mayor, and city staff. We are proud to say that now we have more than 300 kids in our competitive program and thousands in our school program. And just for your information, we have a school program in most of the elementary, middle, and high schools in the SRB USD, partnering with the school district. And also there are many more kids who are playing recreational and pickup games. And this would have not been possible without city council and city staff investing in building these wonderful cricket facilities what we have, and also keeping up the fields to the best, which can be used most of the time year round. And about the just concluded international tournament, I want to thank all 3 cities. This is the only we hosted the 4th edition of the International Youth Tournament over the Thanksgiving weekend. And this is the only tournament in the whole country which is collectively hosted, co-hosted by all 3 cities, namely Pleasanton, San Ramon, and Dublin. And this year, the county, Almada County, was sponsoring officially. We had 16 teams totally, and really proud to say that the San Ramon team got into the finals in all 3 age groups and won U17. And Mark, we really miss you in our closing ceremony. And I want to thank Dave Hudson, Scott Perkins, Vice Mayor Srca Veros, and Sabina Jaffer for being there and handing over the trophies to the winners. And it was really a proud moment for all of us.
I want to thank whoever it was that picked that weekend. I want to know how in the world you managed to get between those two rainstorms. Whoever it was, keep them on staff.
Thank you. And really, I want to call out Kathy and her staff for wonderful helping us successfully host it. And U17 tournament was run at Rancho Park all 4 days under the lights. So it was a very beautiful tournament and everybody really appreciated. And Plastron asked me to thank the City Council for wonderful facilities. And coming back to tonight's agenda, we are really proud to share with you that 4 of the youth members, youth players who started their journey with San Ramon Cricket Association youth program are currently playing USA cricket in the national team. And I would like to kind of introduce, to start with, Anika Kolan, who is the youngest player to make it into the USA women's team. And I will pause there to see whether she's there. She can kind of introduce herself and speak a few words.
Annika, are you shy or can you speak?
I can speak. Thank you, Mayor Hudson, Vice Mayor Srca, Council Members Mark Perkins and Ms. Sabina Safar, as well as the City Council for this presentation. My name is Anika Reddy Kolan, and I am a sophomore at Dublin High School. I'm the youngest player in the USA women's cricket team, and I was the captain of the U19's Western Zones in our recent national selections. I'd really like to thank the San Ramon City Council for providing infrastructures for playing cricket at various levels. And I'd really like to thank Vice Mayor Srca for introducing cricket in the Tri-Valley and forming Srca while spreading cricket awareness in the Tri-Valley. I'd also like to thank the president of Srca Youth, Ramesh Uncle, who was always the person to introduce me to cricket by giving me practice sessions to my brother, Ajay Madi, and to me at ProCrick. Recently, I traveled to Mexico and Zimbabwe, and I'm really fortunate to be there representing the USA Senior Women's Team. And it was a great learning experience for me and the team, but I can clearly see the gap of expertise we have compared to the other teams, and that tied in to the lack of playing on turf wickets. So I'd like to make a request to the City Council to help build turf wickets in the city so that we can all build the gap down and participate and play cricket more confidently. I'd also like to thank my school for continuing the support they have given me. Thank you.
We don't use the Rancho Romero or anyway, we'll work on that, Sridhar. I'm not gonna, you're the cricket guy, you come up with this thing. Why don't we have a cricket field?
We don't have the turf field, we have concrete pitches, so that's what we are working right now. So we are working on getting a turf field.
I cut Ramashu off. Ramashu, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Anika, and we all wish you good luck on future endeavors and the games. And with that, I would like to introduce Ajay Imadi, who is a senior at the Amador High School, and he started his journey with the Srca Youth, and he made it into the 18-member team this year, USA U19 team. Ajay, are you there? You want to introduce yourself, Ajay?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ajay Madi. I'm a senior at Amador Valley High School. And I just want to thank the city of San Ramon for their continued support in my journey as a cricketer. I started playing cricket at Rancho Park, coming over on the weekends, every weekend, and playing in Windermere Ranch Middle School on the cricket pitch over there. So just my journey always starts in San Ramon, and I just want to thank the city of San Ramon for their continued support.
Well, you can thank Sridhar for that. He wouldn't let up. He kept dragging us out there. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, I would like to introduce the fastest bowler among the U19 team in the whole US, like under 19 players in the whole US, Mr. Rohan Posanpalli, who is the senior at DVHS. And Rohan, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rohan Posanpalli. I'm a senior at Doherty Valley High School. And I just want to thank the city of San Ramon and all their council members for all their extensive hard work they put in for this. I've been living in San Ramon for about like 12, 13 years now. And I've been watching my dad play in all the fields that were first here, and just watching him play and seeing how cricket has grown so much in San Ramon is just really like a heartwarming thing for me. So just want to thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Rohan. And last but not least, and I would like to introduce Skanda, who was the senior last year at DVHS, and is one of the main batter for the USA national team under 19. Skanda, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So first of all, I would like to thank all the board members of the city council for promoting cricket and always being there for all the events. Yeah, so I moved to San Ramon when I was 15, and then I'm really happy to see the cricketing community and the cricketing facilities grow in the Bay Area, especially in the Tri-Valley. So I would request you guys to keep helping and supporting cricket. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That's all day for me, and really thank you. Thanks everybody for all the support over the years, and this is where we are. This year we have 4 of our youth players, and we are going to keep raising the bar, and with your support, with the new fields that are going to come in sooner or later. And that's all from me tonight.
Well, hang on. Let me see if I can get some comments. Anybody? Sabina, you're on the right. I'm seeing you first. Do you have anything you'd like to add to this? You gave out most of the trophies.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Ramesh, for always including us and keeping us up to date on what's happening with cricket in the Tri-Valley as well. And thank you really for putting in the hard work. It's such a volunteer-run organization, and you're producing world-class players. So that's a lot of kudos to all the parents that are putting in this hard work, including our vice mayor here, who's been working hard to get these fields up and running. And just want to say to Ajay, Anika, Rohan, and Skanda, thank you so much for all your hard work and really persisting and sticking with the sport and playing. You know, there's a lot going on in your lives, I know, as high schoolers, and it takes a lot of persistence and hard work to really continue to play a sport and get really great at it. So just congratulations to all of you, and very proud of all 4 of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mark, I still think I can hit that fastball, Rohan. Any comments you have?
I want to say thanks to Ramesh for the invitation. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to the award ceremony. I was out of town, just couldn't get back in time. But what a great group of young cricketers here, you know, nationally recognized on the national cricket team. It's a great program. It's growing in our community. We have such a diverse community. This is such a wonderful sport. It's growing in popularity every day. Congratulations to Annika and Ajay and Skanda and Rohan. Just well done, and look forward to kind of hearing some more about the great things that you're doing on those national teams, and look forward to the ever increasing popularity of cricket, and hope to support your program as we go into the future and kind of look at different field options and things like that. So well done, and thanks again, Ramesh and fellow cricketers.
Okay, Member Perkins.
Yeah, I've been following this for quite a while, for long before Sridhar was on the council. You know, he was promoting this, and we were seeing him at these award events, and you know, they were pretty small in the beginning, and Cricket for Kids and all that. And I'm just really thrilled to see how it's growing. One of these days, I hope we see it's a East Bay Athletic League sport, you know, EBAL, where we've got the high schools directly involved. That would be fabulous. But congratulations to the 4 cricketers we've got, Ajay, Skanda, Rohan, and Annika. And Ramesh, you have to be so proud of what you've accomplished and how this is growing, and really pleased to see that this is happening here in the Tri-Valley.
Thank you, sir.
Sridhar, you're going last because you had the introductions. I will just say that people don't realize how long you've been working. I can remember when we would go to the awards, the we being Mayor Abram Wilson and I believe past Mayor Bill Clarkson was there as school board member. I mean, we've been doing this for a while. And what really has me excited, I can remember when we first started doing this with soccer, and it kept building and building, and Donna Kurger was involved with it. I think that's where you're at. I think you really have a winner here, and you should be very proud. I'll leave the last words for you, Sridhar.
Thank you, Mayor Hudson. Congratulations, Anika, for being selected to USA Women's National Cricket Team. Congratulations, Ajay, Rohan, Skanda Rohit, for being selected to USA Men's National Cricket Team. By the way, nice to see, Anika, that you are going to join Geetika as the second girl getting selected from SRCA to the national cricket team. As we all celebrated Geetika's selection also like a couple of years back. It's great to see you joining her. I know pretty much all of you since you were small kids. It's great to see all your hard work these many years, including your parents' hard work. So becoming reality today so that you could represent our nation in the sport, especially the sport that you love. And definitely it's a great achievement. One thing I would like to mention is this success is a good example of how important it is to have a partnership between city and community-based organizations, so that we can work in collaboration for success of our community youth. I don't want to sound here like an Oscar award ceremony or something, but definitely I want to mention some key stakeholders in this whole effort of building cricket community within San Ramon Valley as well as within the Tri-Valley, like our current and past city council leadership. Like as Mayor Hudson mentioned, it comes from all the way Mayor Wilson. It started from there, and every council, every year they supported and made sure that they are getting appropriate infrastructure. Also, City Manager Joe, always there. Parks and Community Services Commissioners, they always there to support and provide the infrastructure requests and listen to all the requests that they came in front of Commission. Definitely, as Ramesh mentioned, Kathy and her team, best. They always supported SRCA. SRCA, again, one more thing is on community side, it is SRCA leadership, SRCA volunteers, especially Ramesh Madi. Your efforts day and night, man. This whole success story, one of the key person, you played a very important role in making this happening. So it's commendable, all your work. I believe that this is just a beginning for us. I'm sure many more success stories are going to come in future. So with that, Anika, Ajay, Rohan, Skanda Rohit, wish you all best to make tons of runs with your bat and make sure you get a lot of wickets with your bowling and fielding. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
And I will keep talking because I know Rohan wants to say something after I open my mouth, and I'm not going to give him the opportunity. Thank you, guys. And it wasn't me, it was Sridhar that issued the challenge. We look forward to seeing you in the future. And I will add one other name to that list that I was very surprised how supportive he is towards cricket, and that's Supervisor Dave Howard. I think from what I've heard, he shows up every year for you guys, even when he's back on Dublin Council. So I think the future's bright. Look forward to seeing you next year, Ramesh, unless it rains again. Then I'm sending Sridhar. I don't know how you did it, but that was fantastic. Once again, thank you. And we will move on to the next item, which is the deferred consent items. There's no action on this required on 6. So we'll move on to 7. We had 3 items pulled. The first item is 512, which is resolution number 2021-142, approving the city's inventory of leased and owned properties pursuant to Government Code 56569. I don't know if we need a staff report. I would ask call-in user number 1. She's the one that pulled it. But what is it about 512 that you wish to discuss?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so for 5.12, I just want to ask the Finance Committee or Accounting Department to please kindly clarify if those electric car pumps belong to us as assets or not. if they are our assets, they should be listed. And if they're not,
This
I
is not
ask
part
the
of
city.
inventory of leased and owned properties.
Sorry?
I
Which
don't-
one?
This is not on topic, is it?
It is. This is the accounting, the report.
Okay, wait a minute. We're talking about approving the city's inventory of leased and owned properties pursuant to government. At this time, finding no
So
parcels to
owned
be
property
surplus
aren't the
land.
pumps property?
This topic is that there are no parcels to be surplus land or exempt surplus
Yeah.
land.
Okay, well, to me,
This is not,
properties are
this is not-
assets,
this is not-
accounting.
this is not relevant to this.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me
Item.
take control of this thing for a minute. Call in user one. What we are looking at is finding that there are no parcels of land, surplus land or exempt surplus land in accordance with the Surplus Lands Act. That's what we're finding.
Okay, all right. Okay, sorry, I'm in another meeting, so I'm gonna quickly do this. So 5.13,
Oh, wait.
national opioid.
Stop. No, hang on. I'll move 5.12 just to get her to go quick. I'll move the approval of resolution 2021-142. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barros,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson,
Yes, that passes 5.0. 5.13 is resolution 2021-143, the national opioid litigation authorization to participate in settlement agreements. Call in user one, you have the floor. What is with 5.13?
So this item really should not be sneaked in like this as consent calendar. I feel that there is something that either the attorney or the city doesn't want the public to know, so they want you to pass it as a blanket item. That is wrong. I mean, you should be able to present this to the city. And, you know, I'm in another meeting with the school district. I don't even have time to listen to this now, but you really should pull this out and then report to the city. Why is it that we're in a national opioid settlement? What do we do wrong? Or what do we, I mean, are we victim of something? I would like to know that. Okay, so go ahead. I don't have time to listen to this. I got to get back into another meeting. I would like to move on to 5.14, please.
Okay, Mr. Perkins.
I'll move resolution 2021-143.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Zafar. Motion Perkins. Roll call vote, please, if there's any further discussion. If there isn't, seeing none, go ahead.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barros,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes, and that's 5.0. Item 5.14 is ordinance 511. And to get us started, I will move ordinance 511, repealing and replacing Title B, Division B7, Public Peace, Morals and Welfare's Chapter 4, Alarm Systems of the San Ramon Municipal Code, and waive the second reading. Do I have a second?
Okay, may I speak?
Second, Zafar. Okay, you have the floor.
Okay. First of all, don't be so scared of me. I missed the meeting yesterday for finance. I actually just want to take the time, first of all, to thank Captain Carlson, right? Did I say your rank correctly? Excuse me if I didn't. Captain Carlson, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anyways, I want to thank the SRPD, okay, for being very cordial with me because I'm the one who raised a lot of questions. The chief came out to answer all of my questions. I really appreciate him. And I also want to thank the city attorney to have replied to me through the clerk regarding all the wordings and everything. There is just one little thing, though, that we all forgot to address. Who will be the alarm administrator, quote unquote? Is this going to be a clerk position in the city, or is the alarm administrator going to be an SRPD officer?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, we're to the point where we've practically opened up the public hearing at this point. So
we can't open up the public hearing on this
Well,
thing. This is just to find out what question you want. If you, I'm not going to change my motion on it to just do exactly what we were doing on consent. If somebody wants to get her that information, I'm fine with it, but I'm not opening up.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to go inside now. Bye.
Bye. Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, it was a motion. Perkins, second. Zafar, roll call vote, please.
Mayor Hudson, just to clarify, did you read the title of the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved it. I should say I moved it. What the heck? And second, Zafar. But I did read it. That, in fact, I did it before I even opened up to find out what the problem was. It's just I'm back there trying to figure out what. Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you. Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Veros,
Yes.
and Mayor Hudson.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
502. Okay, we're done with the consent calendar, the deferred consent items. There's no city council appointments. We're on to the unfinished business, which is 9.1, resolution 2021-144. I'm going to waive the reading to get right to Gloria Lee to give us some real nuts and bolts of what are we doing, Gloria? Go ahead, give us the report.
Well, let me go ahead and start, Mayor and members of the council. Good evening, and I just wanted to introduce Gloria, but just wanted to just say how excited we are for getting to the end of this project. It's been a long time coming. We've been working on this for many years. And so it has come to fruition that we have completed a very successful project. We had a very strong team. We've had a number of engineers, inspectors, our consultants, our contractors, and it was a complex project, but it was very well run. And I want to give credit to Gloria Lee, who was our associate civil engineer, who took the ball and ran with it. She was given the project to oversee the construction. So with that, I will turn it over to Gloria, and she will provide the presentation on how we did such a wonderful job making this a successful project.
I think before you speak, Gloria, I want to tell you, I think the word was harassed staff to get this darn thing done for the last 3 or 4 years, as I would roll home in October when we'd have these droughts. But I freely admit I may have been a little wrong in waiting to get more money so that we could do it. I don't know what we're going to do in the future with that, whatever we call that surfacing, because that's the only thing I heard that was a complaint about it, is my side wasn't as nice as the others. Anyway, Gloria, you have the floor.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Good evening, Mayor Hudson, Vice Mayor Veros, members of the City Council, and city staff. My name is Gloria Lee, Associate Civil Engineer with the Engineering Services Division. I manage the construction phase of the Acosta Paving project, and staff wanted to bring this to your attention as it's been planned for many years and was recently completed and had unique components to the project. Let me first start by providing you the background of the project. The project is located along a relatively level residential area on Acosta Boulevard between Veracruz Drive to Olympia Fields Drive. Acosta consists of 2 northbound lanes and 2 southbound lanes and separate frontage road to the west of the main road. Staff and the city's design consultant, Reco, prepared the contract documents in compliance with Caltrans local assistance requirements. The project was partially funded by One Bay Area Grant Cycle 2 program, also known as OBAC 2, in the amount of $1.175 million to be used for construction. On June 22nd of this year, the contract was awarded to De Silva Gates Construction. The award amount was $2.27 million. And this award amount does not include upgrading the curb ramps to ADA compliance the city was obligated to address. The curb ramp work was completed ahead of this project as a separate contract for a couple of reasons. One is so the work could be done by a specialized concrete contractor. And 2, to save 15 to 20% markup the paving contractor would have charged the city for hiring concrete contractor in the paving project. So for this paving work only, the construction duration was 45 working days, which began on August 2nd and completed on time and budget on October 4th. So The scope of this project was dictated by the existing pavement condition, and there were 3 types of pavement treatments performed in this project. Southbound Acosta from Veracruz to Pine Valley was rehabilitated by a treatment called mill and fill, where the top 2.5 inches of pavement were removed and replaced with new asphalt. Northbound Acosta from Veracruz to Burning Tree was planned for rehabilitation called full depth reclamation, also known as FDR, to reconstruct severely distressed pavement out there. The third treatment, called base repair, also known as dig out, was performed outside of mill and fill and FDR limits to address localized areas of damaged pavement, which were dug out and placed with new section. This mill and fill treatment and base repair is a routine rehab method that San Ramon used over and over in the past, but this was the first time for city to use FDR treatment to reconstruct the roadway. The FDR treatment involves recycling existing pavement in place, called pulverization, with all the existing holes, cracks, and ruts in the pavement into a reusable material to rebuild the road base. The recycled material is further stabilized with cement to produce even stronger and more durable section. The staff and the city's design consultant thought FDR was the most appropriate treatment to address structurally deficient pavement because, number one, the cost to rebuild the road with FDR was substantially cheaper than the conventional reconstruction, which staff estimated to be about $1 million in savings for this project. And 2, the construction duration with FDR is much shorter than the conventional reconstruction. And 3, because of the reduced waste. Since most of the existing pavement section is recycled in place, we are reducing waste hauled to landfills and also reducing carbon footprint by minimizing the number of truck trips. Alongside with these benefits, though, we also had challenges for using this operation. This operation uses larger equipment, requires larger footprint to do the work, but the existing lane widths were not wide enough to safely do the job if we were to keep one lane open to traffic. And also for this FDR operation, the roadway will need to remain unpaved for a few days until the cement stabilizer is cured. So for the safety of the motorists and construction crews and the concerns with driving on the unpaved road, it was necessary to close the road for 10 working days for this operation. Now, closing the street completely for 24 hours, 10 working days is not typical here in San Ramon. We understood that street closure would result in major traffic disruption and inconvenience to the public, especially for those 13 residents within the FDR limits. So in an effort to provide the highest level of customer service to these residents, as soon as the schedule for FDR work was established, staff hand-delivered a roadway closure notification letter, invited them to a community meeting held at the San Ramon Senior Center. At the meeting, staff explained that the street in front of their house needed to be reconstructed 14 inches deep to address structurally deficient pavement out there, and that this operation is completely different from what they're used to seeing across the city. We also explained that the residents would not be able to access their driveways during the closure, requiring the residents to park their cars outside the work area. Staff immediately received feedback that they were concerned about the vandalism while their cars are parked outside the FDR work limits. So staff listened to their concern, coordinated with police department promptly to provide increased police patrol during the closure. And staff also explained that the construction options we explored, the pros and cons, and the cost savings associated with those options. The options that we considered were two things. Option one was to phase the FDR work in shorter segments in order to minimize the length of the closure. We could have broken into shorter segments, but that could have lasted at least 4 weeks or more. Option two was to use the conventional reconstruction, removing the entire existing pavement section, hauling the excavated material away, and then hauling in the new material, and finally placing the asphalt on top. This method could have kept one lane open to traffic, but the project not only cost a lot more, but construction would have taken significantly longer than any other options. While the residents were concerned about the major disruption, many expressed a preference for more intense disruption over a shorter period of time rather than alternatives that would have resulted in much longer construction. At first, the residents were concerned about the closure, but once we explained the reason behind the decision through these public outreach events, the residents understood the importance of improving the street safely and cost effectively, and ultimately were willing to work with the closure. Besides the door-to-door outreach and community meeting, the contractor provided advance notice to the public with changeable message boards around the project site. Staff also mailed out notifications letters to more than 1,000 residents across the neighborhood to notify them of the construction work ahead, the schedule, work limits, staff contact information, and so forth. Staff also used social media and city website and weekly construction notification email to communicate construction updates and reminders to the public. As a result of all these efforts, complaint calls related to the closure was very minimal, which was just 1 out of 40 phone calls received for the entire project. And here are some photos of Fdr Operation. There are various steps involved with this treatment. The first step is to remove some of the excess material to make room for the new asphalt that will be placed on top. Step 2 is to spread out cement over the existing base layer for added strength and durability. Step 3 is to mix the existing base material and cement, which is the pulverization process, with this large mixer as shown on the right photo. The photo on the left is after the pulverization is complete. As you can see, it will be tough to allow traffic to drive through this unpaved condition. And step 4 is the compaction. During this process, the pulverized material is compacted, cured, and trimmed, making a strong uniform base for the final surface treatment. And step 5, which is the final step, is the placement of the asphalt, which is known as the overlay. And because of the use of full lane closure, the contractor was able to roll out the asphalt very rapidly, which resulted in opening the roadway 1 day ahead of schedule. The use of the full lane closure and using FDR to reconstruct the roadway instead of the conventional reconstruction, the project cost saving was substantial and really helped the contractors to get in and out of the site to complete the work safely and quickly. And here is the photo after the project was completed. Staff would like to thank San Ramon residents for their patience and cooperation as we work to improve the streets of San Ramon. With everyone's cooperation and hard work, the project was successfully completed safely, on time, within project budget. In closing, I would like to ask the City Council to accept the project as complete, as this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Gloria. Any questions of Gloria before I open public comment? Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, one question. Do you have it handy what the pavement condition index was on Acosta prior to the work being done? And have you done an assessment as to what it is now?
Yeah, I don't have it readily available, but
I want to say 70. But it wasn't the whole thing, it was below that. Well, it was 70 when I started whining. It probably is quite a bit less than that 4 years later, but it was in parts. And now it was, if we didn't do it, that's a long stretch that could have gotten really expensive, as if 10 million's a drop in a bucket. But I mean, it had reached, Acosta's funny. The Acosta we're talking about, Veracruz to not Fostoria, but Wisteria's.
Olympia Fields.
Yeah, Olympia Fields is all we got into it, but it's just different in different sections, and it really depends on it. I thought that it was 70 max, like Scott's saying it's less. It's probably 70 when he and I started on a subcommittee, but there were some sections there that, wow, I'll tell you.
I'm sure there were sections that were at 50 or below.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was giving 50 is also a big number for that.
It needed it. I'll tell you that. It's going to be a solved problem.
Just curious. I have some comments later, but that was the only question.
Okay.
Okay.
Boy, I've got to go back and pull out all the old paperwork. Okay, seeing no other questions, let's open the public comment, see if anyone in the public has something they want to speak to. If you do, please raise your hand, dial *9 on your telephone. Remarks will be limited to 3 minutes. I still don't see a hand going up, and the clock will be running on the Zoom screen. Seeing no hands going up in the public, we'll close the public comment that's before the council for discussion and or a motion. Who's up first?
Okay. Oh. Let Mark do that.
I can't. I'm sorry. That can't be beat. I'll move to approve resolution number 2021-144 and a second, Vice Mayor Barros. I thought I was the only one that did that. Now, is there any further discussion before we take a roll call vote? And that was to do, should be a little bit more formal. That's accepting the work by De Silva Gates Construction for construction of the Acosta Mall pavement rehabilitation project. That's the capital improvement program 905602. Federal project 5437, for some reason parentheses 31. It is complete, and we authorize the city clerk to file a notice of completion with the Contra Costa County Recorder's Office. And that's all included in resolution number 2021-144. And again, you still second that, right, Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment. First, Gloria, thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. My house is in that map that you kept showing all the time. I'm very
yes, ours is.
Probably you, Mayor. So I'm very familiar with that stretch. I was very happy to see this project move forward. Talking to my neighbors, they're very happy with the outcome. I'm very pleased with it. Glad you got those curb upgrades done ahead of time. This was a great project. It was on time. There was minimal disruption. I use that road all the time. I think the treatment solutions were very creative, using a variety of different things.
Yeah.
I think the public outreach and the community information that you all did was commendable as well. So, it was a cost-effective way to get that road improved, and I think the city took the right actions, and well done. And my congratulations to everybody who had their hand in it. And I also want to thank our residents for their cooperation too. This is not easy to shut down roads in the area, especially, that one particular stretch that had to be shut down completely for a little bit of time. And our residents were very cooperative, and the bottom line is they got a better road out of the whole deal, and we're all better off for it. So thank you.
Well put, Mark. I would just say the only complaints I'd heard about throughout the whole time was that the southernmost section didn't have that, what we would call super treatment. And in the staging area, there were some people a little concerned about the equipment, especially on the weekends, some kids climbing on or something like that. Other than that, everyone is happy with the results. And that's really what it comes down to. Okay, let's have a roll call vote if there's no further discussion. Sabina.
I was just going to say thank you, Gloria, again. That was a very informative and detailed report. I know Maria already mentioned that you just ran with it. So just shows, how much dedication and work goes into putting something together like this. And one day somebody complained to me and the next day they're like, oh, it's all done. So, it was quite fast. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, you should have been here for the sewer line we put in from Doherty Valley. Sridhar, you're unmuted. Did you want to speak?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Gloria, for presentation and sharing all in-depth information. That's very knowledgeable for me, especially first time I'm looking into through end-to-end. Great work, especially community outreach.
We're losing you.
So I want to say thank you very much for everyone in completing this project.
Okay, thank you. Scott, you're unmuted.
Yeah, I just want to say, Gloria, when you get a chance, go talk to Councilmember Armstrong. He's a civil engineer.
Oh, boy.
And you guys can talk civil engineer things.
Oh, no.
No, thank you very much for the hard work, you guys, and the creative efforts to save a little money and get a really good product and do it quickly. Appreciate it all. People complain to me, I've been doing this too long. People complain to me about that. And I say, you know what? If we weren't doing projects, then you can complain to me. But the fact that we're doing projects will make your life better. Yeah, you'll have a couple of weeks of annoyance, but you'll have a decade or so of really good pavement in that area now. Thanks.
I'm going to be good at that point. Okay, let's move. Roll call vote, please, Christina.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barros,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes, 5-0. Again, we're doing well. Let's move on to 9.2, my favorite. Resolution number 2021-145, appropriating $1 million from the City Beautification Fund, that's 204, to the Bollinger Canyon Road Iron Horse Trail Bicycle Pedestrian Overcrossing Project, that's 905 CIP 905-530, authorizing the city manager to enter into an amendment to cooperative agreement number 12 SW.05, that's contract C 2019-45 with the Contra Costa Transportation Authority to manage, design, and the construction of the project, and authorize an increase to the project budget for a total of $22,719,650, and that will require an approval of 2021-145. Robin Bartlett, you have the staff report. There you are. You moved from the right to the left. Go ahead.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. I would like to give you a brief update on the project in relation to this request. So I'm just going to share my screen here. And hopefully you can see that. And if everyone can see that, I'll proceed. So in summary, right now, we're at about 90% completion of the design. And the project designer is expecting that to be completed before Christmas for their internal reviews. And so we should be seeing the 90% design very early in the new year. After that, it's really about dotting I's and crossing T's, and the design will be complete. So as I think you will probably recall, this project is being undertaken using the CMGC process. Therefore, along with the design, there's an ongoing cost estimation process that's being done by both the designer, the contractor, and an independent cost estimator. So discussions on the cost are really ongoing, and they're reaching a critical phase now as subcontractors and suppliers become more serious about this design being complete and getting ready to go into construction. So we are expecting changes, and the CCTA is in a final negotiation phase with the contractor to get a final price. That being said, we are pretty optimistic that the budget will be pretty close, but there's not a lot of room left in it, and the agreed upon cost could go over the original budget. So we think that it's appropriate to have funds available so that we can make that transition right into construction as envisioned. So with that, staff size turned a little bit to the City Beautification Fund. The purpose of the fund is, as stated here, purpose of funding is for funding beautification improvements, including beautification treatments at city entry points, public art in city facilities, and other decorative features to express the diversity and individuality of San Ramon. And I certainly think that this project applies. Just in brief summary, this is a revised graphic of the extensive landscaping that's going to be on both sides of the bridge. This landscaping will be all up around the embankments and extend a little over 400 feet on either side of the project. That landscaping cost is currently estimated at being about $1 million, $850,000 to $1 million, depending on which estimate we use, and still being negotiated. It includes an awful lot of planting, as was shown there, as well as seating areas and a variety of elements to really make it a very attractive space. In addition to the landscaping to beautify that whole area, there's a lot of lighting elements on the bridge. Currently, the cost of all the lighting and signals improvement is about $600,000 to $750,000, of which the L&L is providing about $400,000 for the safety lighting and signals elements. And then really, finally, there's the bridge itself, as shown in this rendering of the lighting. This was an element that was discussed now about 2.5 years ago with regard to the bridge type selection. So this type of bridge is about $5 to $7 million more than a conventional box that you might see over the freeway or some such. And so all of those elements together are significant costs and result in, I think, what will be a very beautiful project and a very substantial improvement in San Ramon. And just to recap the existing budget is coming from a variety of sources. Right now, we've got about $1 million. We've got $1 million of the San Ramon General Fund in there, as well as $2,899,000 from the COP, which of course is in the long run coming from the general fund. There's $3 million from a Measure J grant, $4.8 million of OBAG 2 federal funding. There's $9.2 million from the STIP funding agreement that was made with CCTA. Almost $400,000 from the Air Board, and $400,000 of L&L funds to bring us to a total of $21.7 million. This will add $1 million in additional funding for that contingency or initial increases that we might require as we go into the final stages of the negotiation. And just to highlight with the way this is being viewed, these $1 million, it's really just, as far as CCTA and managing the project is concerned, these are city funds. So any unused city funds will be returned to the city. That'll be the last element expended. So any funds can be returned to the city for the city to use as the council so decides, back to general fund, back to city beautification fund as appropriate. Along with this conversation, I did want to highlight some of the elements that are being discussed in this final phase of design. Again, we're trying to deliver the product that you all want while making sure that we do it in a cost-effective way. So there's a few modifications to the lighting. As you may recall from that rendering, there is some lighting shown that is lighting the cables, and I can go back to that if you like. So there's light coming up to these cables. We're looking at eliminating that lighting in order to save some money on this. The architect looking at it saying, well, it's nice, but there's really not a high density of cables on this bridge. So you can end up with a fairly large amount of light pollution and really not a lot of enhancement. So instead, the emphasis is really let's emphasize and preserve the lighting onto the support elements of the bridge.
Has he seen the lights on the Bay Bridge?
Yeah.
Yes.
Different cables.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some kind of lighting on the cables, whether it comes down, maybe it comes down from the tower as opposed to coming up from the bridge. So it's not uplighting. Now, you don't want to blind people and you don't want to flash people as they're driving underneath, but you know, you don't want it to be distracting, but even small LEDs strung along the cables would be could be, I mean, that's what they've got on the Bay Bridge, is they've got LEDs.
And that's an art installation. So I mean, that's part of an art installation that's programmed and everything. So
yeah, I
Change
still
the
would like to
lights
see
with
light
City
on the
Hall.
cable somehow.
I'll see what we can do about that.
Since we did jump in on you, Robin, has anybody discussed possible solar displays on the south part of that pole to cut back on the cost that you mentioned? Because it's a southern exposure, it's a lot of exposure in the summer in particular. I don't, just the reason I do it is I'm looking at that cheap 390. I thought we were getting more out of the air district. Thought I had some power back then. I guess once I left, they cut us by about 50,000.
Yeah.
I might go back and scream.
Good.
Oh, yeah, we don't currently have any solar items in this, but it's something that can be added.
Let me talk to you tomorrow about it. I'm cutting into your thing and I'll get you a name and a number. We'll start on it tomorrow and see if it's, I'll start on it with Tim Hale. He's going to do it. What the heck?
Okay, there's some minor modifications that may occur to that rendering. It's more keep it as it is in function, but possible modification to the granite boulders and seats. Minor other modifications may occur in the landscaping. One of the things we're trying to look at is the most effective way to give us high quality topsoil, whether we're importing soil or modifying the soil. There's other two items that you won't notice at all, but we're continuing to refine the designs, kind of just give you a flavor of what goes on with this whole process of the CMGC as we interact with the contractors. Then they come up with ideas. There's a lot of interaction with potential suppliers, and ideas come back about, hey, if you modify this, we can save a bunch of money and it doesn't even affect the appearance. So there's possible modifications going on with the mesh and with the amount of steel being used. And final item that I did want to bring to your attention is possible elimination of the stairs on the south side. This goes back to something that we had looked at in the early concepts of the project. At that time, it was anticipated that we would want to have stairs because we didn't want people who wanted to cross the road and then say go to the library to have to take a 400-foot long trip all the way down to the bottom of the ramp and then turn around and take the at-grade trail back up north. The current
I'd like to see those stairs stay so that people can go to the library.
Yes, so the current design, as I can flip back to the landscaping, it gives you an indication.
Mhm.
So the stairs are contemplated as being here. And so the route would be this.
Okay.
Design, the original concept, while we had the stairs, would be if you didn't have the stairs, you would do this.
Yeah.
And come back.
Yeah.
Now we have an intermediate path. So the length of the path has been effectively cut in half. So if somebody uses this, it's now half the length of the original concept.
So it's still a 200-foot detour, 70 yards. That's most of a football field. Boy, I would much prefer to see a stairway that is close proximity to the eastbound lanes of Bollinger. I think that's an important element of this, so that people coming from the library and the Marketplace Shopping Center will have access to the bridge. I'm thinking of, there's kids that are going to go from Iron Horse, they're going to cross the bridge, and they're going to go to the library. Now, what they'll probably do, instead of using the bridge, if you don't have a staircase easily, is they're going to go through Central Park and use the traffic light at City Hall and Marketplace Drive. So it kind of defeats part of the purpose of having this thing, so that for the safety of the kids that are coming to and from Iron Horse. So taking away the stairs reduces the safety element. Doesn't eliminate it, obviously, but it reduces it because it makes it less convenient. And as you point out, that now that's a double back. If kids can find a way to run down the hill through the landscaping to the alternate path, you know what they do, right, Robin? You either have to put really high guardrails along there, or middle schoolers are going to jump a short fence and scramble down through the landscaping.
Yeah, well, these are exactly why I wanted to bring this item to your attention, because these were some of the issues that we thought about. Some of the detouring that you described is really probably not going to be something that I'll see a lot of here, because there's actually a vertical wall there. However, our concern from the very beginning of this project was we want to make sure that this crossing is functional. Of course, this is a very high cost element. We're looking at $350,000 for this set of stairs.
Before you go a whole lot further, I want you to talk to Lisa Bobadilla before she retires here in a couple of weeks. The Tri-Valley Transportation Council yesterday voted to support funding for this bridge. Okay, so there's a
$450,000 bridge, Scott.
Well, it's the amount of money we're talking about is
Sabina got it.
The amount of money we're talking about is probably more than $1 million.
Good.
Coming from TVTC. So talk to Lisa and get a sense of what that dollar amount will be, because we voted to apply 10% of all the top 15 priorities. And you know what the number one priority was on our list? It's this bridge.
Yep.
This bridge is number one priority for TVTC. So talk to Lisa. There's some money there.
Well, I'm really at this point just seeking feedback from this for this item. So that's exactly
the reason I bring that up is your efforts to save money may not be quite as urgent as you thought.
Cool. Okay, Robin, what else you got? Keep going. We just got you $1 million.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that is the essence of where we are with this project. As I say, we're getting into these final design. And one thing I also wanted to point out is that the final design, as we do through this contract, will not include the shade structures. That does not mean that shade structures are being eliminated from the project. But in reviewing this design and talking with the landscape architecture and talking through the problem, it seemed like one good way to go about looking at those shade structures would be to pursue a independent design so we can get those to look how we want to look, and space will be provided for them where we want them, and then we can have them installed with the objective having that design completed and have these ready to install with the completion of the construction of the bridge.
Okay.
So with that, are there any other questions or comments? I'm taking away that it's the pleasure of the council to keep the stairs in place
Yes.
and to see what can be done with regard to maintaining lighting on the cables.
Okay, let's stay with clarifying questions before I open up the public comment. Any clarifying questions, and then we'll go in discussion afterwards. Seeing none. Public comment is open. Anyone wish to address this council? I'm still looking, but there you go. I don't see anybody. You could dial *9. Nope. Okay. No one wishes to address us. Let's close the public comment and the matters before the council for comments.
I'll move resolution 2021-145.
Okay, that's a heck of a comment. Second, Zafar. Any further discussion? We discussed out. Mark, you got your mute off. Are you discussing or are you?
You know, I was going to second, but I'll discuss. First, Robin, thanks for the information. That was a lot of good stuff there. I'd love to see this project completed, sooner rather than later, but obviously it's got to get done safely. We don't want to compromise on any safety things. I think this contingency funding is a good idea. It's going to help keep the project moving along. Ultimately, this project I think it's a great project for our city. It's going to be not only good for our Iron Horse Trail users, but it's going to be good for traffic in the area. It's going to serve as an iconic kind of feature, good project for the city. And so whatever we can do to kind of keep it going, I'm all for that. I'd like to see a little bit of lighting on there. I'd like to see the stairs remain, but good report. And I do support the contingency funding that we're discussing tonight.
Scott, you're unmuted.
No, I want to thank you, Robin. You guys have been doing a terrific job, and I appreciate the fact that CCTA is helping us out, making this thing happen. That's been a real plus, in my opinion, because that's what CCTA does. They do bigger projects. I mean, we handle those projects at $5 million and under pretty well, but when you get projects that are $20 million, that's a stretch for us. I'm not saying we couldn't do it, but when you have a resource like CCTA, I think that's a good use. So press on.
Well, when you go back and look at the state and the regional money and the county money that were involved, that people forget CCTA is also the CMA, the congestion management agent for the county, and that pulled in a lot of money. But maybe more important of all, I got to thank this council and previous councils, because sometimes you come in here and go, "Hey, I got this great idea." Yeah, and it doesn't go anywhere. But I jumped on this one early and often, and the support I got from Scott, you, Harry, before. Sabina, and it goes back to the statement I made earlier. The most effective leaders anticipate where their community is going. We didn't know there was going to be that housing there when we did this. And what we did was make this 16 feet wide, which now is going to look like, whoa, this is the way these pedestrian bridges are going to be built. East County went the same way. That regular little 10-foot wide thing that kind of shakes in the wind is not going to make it. And this was clearly an iconic position for making a statement entry into San Ramon. And I think it's really coming together. And exactly what Scott was saying, CCTA is good at this. Ivan Ramirez is very well respected in the business. He's going to be on this project. So I'm looking forward to people saying, whoa, they're really going to do this if we get this vote. So Christina, roll call vote, please.
I was just
Sabina.
gonna say, I was just gonna say, people are not gonna believe this is gonna come till we start breaking ground.
Yep.
That's like the most common question. Is it really coming? Is it really coming? We're
When
almost
they
there,
see
we're almost there.
when they see the columns go up. You know,
Yeah,
the
they're gonna
cable
see
stay
the
bridge,
columns
when
go
those
up,
columns
and
go
then
up,
they're gonna be like, what
and-
happened to traffic?
and well, they're gonna close the piece of the roadway, but hopefully they can do some of that work at night, on and lift
That's why
those.
we're leaving the lights on.
places.
Everybody who's asking for it, we're just telling them it's coming. Believe us, it's coming.
Well, I think
It's
they're
not gonna be another 14 years.
They're doing some utility work.
14.
Yes.
It's long past 4. No, it was 28 that I know of, not
Okay.
34. Okay, Christina, call Robin. You got your unmuted.
No, it just if
Okay.
any questions came up and
Wait, you didn't want to vote? Okay.
comments. Yeah, technically work has started. We're doing utility relocations.
Good.
And yeah, there'll be some of those nasty road closures, but they'll be brief.
Yeah.
And as with Acosta, they'll pay a huge dividend in cost savings to get just picked up with one crane and put these things into place.
Right.
And when we
So
finish,
what's
we'll bring
happening
back
now is-
fireworks.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was just gonna ask, the work that is being done is pre-work for the.
Yeah, that's we're
that's
getting some utilities out of the way of the foundations.
perfect. People were asking me what's going on over there. I'm like, I'll find out from Joe.
Christina.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barros,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes, that's
Thank you.
5-0 also. So much for old business. Let's get on to the new stuff. First item is 10.1, resolution number 2021-146. I'll let you read CalPERS stuff. Our Public Works Director, Maria Ferner, is going to give the staff report.
Good evening, Mayor Hudson and members of the council. Tonight, we're requesting authorization for the exception of the 180-day wait period under Government Code Section 7522.56 and 21221H for the hiring of a CalPERS annuitant and the temporary appointment of Elizabeth Bobadilla as a recent CalPERS annuitant to the position of Transportation Division Manager in the Public Works Department. Public Works Transportation Division Manager Lisa Bobadilla is scheduled to retire on December 30th of this year after 25 years with the city. She started as an analyst in Transportation Department and grew in her career to become the Transportation Division Manager of the Public Works Department. In this role, she has been responsible for a number of programs in both regional and local transportation with impactful results throughout her career, as all of you have seen. As we begin the recruitment to fill her position, there are critical tasks that she needs to be covering and requires her expertise. Namely, there is a critical need to cover tasks in the Tri-Valley Transportation Council, or TVTC, and the Traffics Program, as well as help provide me with assistance in the transition of the Transportation Division tasks to the new division manager. For TVTC, she would continue her administrative functions and participate in the strategic plan update and the action plan update. For Traffics, Lisa would be providing training to the newly hired Traffics coordinator and then transition the program over to the new division manager. Recruitment has begun as of yesterday and will close on January 18th of 2022. Staff recommends temporarily appointing Lisa as a CalPERS annuitant to the position of division manager to perform these functions described above, as she is uniquely qualified to complete these tasks. The need for this temporary appointment is estimated to end June 30th of 2022, working on a part-time basis. Staff is requesting that an exception be made to the 180-day waiting period for the hiring of a CalPERS annuitants so that Ms. Babadia may be temporarily appointed to the position of Division Manager of the Public Works Department, Transportation Division. Approval of this exception requires a public meeting. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time. Thank
Any
you.
questions of staff before we open up the public comment?
Yeah, have you contacted Randy Iwasaki to see if he's available?
Yeah, right. Come on. Yeah, Randy's coming back. Do you know what we paid Randy Iwasaki? He is not coming back here.
He's worth every penny.
I would just say that, yeah, I would just say the other thing that's really important that kind of got lost in this is there was a lot of time spent throughout the entire Bay Area on this Blue Ribbon Task Force. And as we start to implement the first 1, 2, and 3 out of 27 steps, this is a pretty important time to not just fall off the map, so to speak, and have one less person in there. So I'm for one will be supportive of this. Who else? Scott, you're unmuted.
Yeah, I wanted to say, Lisa has been far more than just the city's transportation division manager. She is well respected throughout the county and the Bay Area for her expertise. I know for a fact that people in SWAT, people in TVTC, people at CCTA, CCCTA, all of these places know Lisa and rely on her judgment and her expertise on many occasions. She's been a fabulous resource for the city, and she's going to be missed. But I hope you find a good. That's why I mentioned Randy Iwasaki. He might be qualified. So.
Well, it's even more than Iwasaki left. I mean, when he left, Ross Chittenden left. I mean, Rick Ramasier at 3 CTAs leaving. There's a lot of changeover. I'm glad to see she's coming back, hopefully. But when you put down Elizabeth, I kept going, who in the heck is this? I flashed back to your maiden names. All of a sudden, I've been here. Yeah, okay. Anything else, or can we take a roll call vote on this? No, we got to open public comment. Let's open up the public comment, see if anybody wants to speak to this. Public comment is now open. If you wish to speak under public comment, please raise your hand. Dial *9. I don't see anybody. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes. I'm dragging this out because we've got Lisa. Maybe she knows Elizabeth. She can't speak under public comment. Okay, you had your chance. Public comments closed. The matters before the council.
I'll move the item. For those, I don't know if Sridhar, Sabina, or Mark know who Randy Iwasaki was. He used to be Caltrans director, director of Caltrans. So I thought he might be qualified. I'll move resolution 2021-146.
I'll second.
Okay. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Safar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Veros,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes.
Thank you. That passes.
Okay, 10.2, we are moving right along. I'll keep this thing rolling. I'll move the introduction of the ordinance next in line. Repeal and replace Chapter 1 of Division B6 of the Municipal Code to address Senate Bill 1383 compliance and an update regarding city compliance with other aspects of SB 1383, the Short-Lived Climate Pollutant Reduction Act to reduce the disposal of organic waste sent to landfills and waive the reading. If I got this right, do I have to do that first to get the motion open? Do I have a motion? I have the motion. Do I have a second?
I second your motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, and is there any discussion before we vote on the motion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call.
Can I get a clarification on that motion? We had a motion to introduce, and then we had a second to open the public hearing.
Oh, no, just to introduce. I did it wrong. We're just doing an introduction right now, right?
That's according to your motion, yes.
I'll second Mayor Hudson's motion.
Yes.
Okay, now we need a motion to open the public hearing.
No, we got to vote on that motion first for the introduction.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So we need a roll call, I guess.
Yes.
So this is just for the introduction, not for the opening of the public hearing, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I do that second.
Okay. Councilmember Armstrong.
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Safar.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barros,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes. Does Carrie Parker want to do it? Staff report, or am I moving too quick here?
You know, I'm not real sure, but
Keep going. I'm sorry, I added one extra one in there, Mark. Go ahead.
okay. Ready?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor Hudson and members of the council. I'm Carrie Parker, Solid Waste and Environmental Programs Manager in the Public Works Department. Public hearing, introduction of ordinance, next in line, repeal and replace Chapter 1 of Division B6 of the Municipal Code to address Senate Bill SB 1383 compliance and an update regarding city compliance with other aspects of SB 1383, the short-lived Climate Pollutant Reduction Act, to reduce the disposal of organic waste sent to landfills. Staff is recommending adoption of this ordinance to ensure San Ramon is ready and capable of implementing state regulations as required beginning January 1, 2022. Now let me share my screen. Here we go. All right. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Fantastic. The state's goals are to reduce the organics disposed at the landfill by 75% by 2025 and to redirect 20% of wasted but still edible food to be rescued and used to feed currently food insecure communities. These goals are designed to significantly reduce the generation of methane, which is a harmful greenhouse gas emitted from landfills when organics are deposited in that anaerobic environment. This slide shows how San Ramon has already satisfied most of the required preparation necessary to implement these requirements. For instance, the franchise agreement with waste collector ACI of San Ramon included many SB 1383 specific requirements, and that agreement was completed and approved by City Council in 2018. This agreement allowed ACI, beginning in 2019, to assist in San Ramon's compliance by providing organics collection to all sectors, identified organics processors that create compost from San Ramon's organic material, and provided collection containers that complied with the state standardizing color requirements of SB 1383. In addition, ACI assists city staff in education and outreach, compost giveaways, and hauls back post-consumer compost and mulch to be applied to public landscapes. This item tonight is to satisfy the remaining requirements for implementation, which is largely revisions to the solid waste ordinance. These revisions are standard changes for jurisdictions around the state and include designating the city as enforcement authority for requiring the separation of organics from the trash. Staff has included the definitions of Tier 1 and Tier 2 food generators. Tier 1 typically means supermarkets and large food distributors, and Tier 2 means very large restaurants and health facilities of a certain size with on-site dining facilities. Any mixing of the three waste streams is considered contamination. The ordinance is revised to specify that only organics belong in the green organics container and only trash should be in the trash. This revision is establishing that self-haulers, typically landscaping professionals, must also be segregating the organics into clean, uncontaminated loads. And finally, staff will be making organics waivers available to San Ramon's commercial sector by an application process. This item was presented to the Policy Committee on November 17th. They recommended that it be presented to the City Council. In conclusion, staff recommends that the City Council receive the staff report, introduce the ordinance, waive the reading and read by title only, open the public hearing to consider the proposed ordinance, receive public testimony, deliberate, close the public hearing, and set the ordinance for adoption on January 11th, 2022. I would be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. Any questions of staff on this before I move to open the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll move to open the public hearing to introduce the ordinance next in line, repeal and replace Chapter 1 of Division B6 of the Municipal Code to address Senate Bill SB 1383, compliance and update regarding city compliance with other aspects of SB 1383. The short-lived Climate Pollutant Reduction Act to reduce the disposal of organic waste sent to landfills and and waive the reading. Do I have a second?
Second the motion
for the opening of the public hearing. Do I have any discussion before we take the vote? Seeing none, Christina, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Safar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrows,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes, that's 5-0. So we are opening the public hearing for public comment at this time. I'm saying this slow in case anybody wants to raise their hand or dial *9 on your telephone. When it is your turn to talk, we'll call upon you by name if provided. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes per person. Still nobody else wants to talk. The clock will be running. Public comment going once, going twice, 3 times. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing? Motion Perkins, even though he was muted. Second Armstrong.
We close the
We did. Okay, we have a motion Perkins, second Armstrong. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please, Christina.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Safar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrows,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes, that's 5-0 also. I'll move to set the ordinance for adoption at the next city council meeting on January 11th, 2022. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion Hudson, second Armstrong. Further discussion?
I'd just like to say thanks to Carrie for bringing this to our attention. This is, I've been recycling for a long time, and so I'm kind of glad to see that this is coming our way. I think we're well on our way to compliance anyway on this.
Yep.
And I think I said this in the policy committee meeting, but I think the education and the outreach is going to be a key component of this, making sure everybody's informed, not just our citizens on what they need to do with respect to the green waste, but also those food producers, those tier 1 folks that produce a lot of this food, excess food. So I think the burden in the future is going to be on sort of the administrative aspect of this and the tracking and the monitoring and that enforcement piece of it. So I know you got some ideas on how to do that, but I kind of support this at this time, and I look forward to January when it gets adopted.
Good. Okay. I'd have to agree with you. Actually, this is part of what we agreed to when we accepted the contract.
Yes.
All right. Anything further? If not, Christina, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Safar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burrows,
Yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes, 5-0 again. We're on a roll. 10.3, the introduction of resolution number 2022. Next in line, we don't have a resolution. Okay. Repealing and replacing false alarm fees and setting a public hearing for January 11th, 2022. Police, where is he? There he is. You keep moving, Denton. Denton Carlson is our police captain, has the staff report.
All right, good evening, Mayor, council members. Thank you for your time this evening. What we have presented to you today is an introduction of a resolution to repeal and replace the alarm fees set in the city's fee schedule that was approved in April of this year. As you know, we've been going through the process of revamping the ordinance associated with our response to alarms within the city of San Ramon, specifically false alarms. And associated with that is a change in a proposed change for the fees associated with false alarm response from the police department. So in the staff report, one of the big changes associated with this is we are changing from a 90-day monitoring period to a 12-month calendar cycle. And there is a change in the fees. And one thing that I really want to point out that you'll see in the attachment to this staff report and that the public can see as well is we are not proposing any fees whatsoever associated with registering any alarms with the police department. I think that's something that's very important to note. This isn't in place to discourage people from putting alarms in their homes. We want them. They are a good tool and they are a good public safety tool for residents within San Ramon. But what we are trying to do is mitigate the response and the number of false alarms that officers from the San Ramon Police Department do respond to. As you know, we do respond to a large number of these every year. And this associated fee schedule, I think as you take a look at it, was put in place to mirror our local jurisdictions. It is in line with what is the industry standards. And again, it mirrors directly our local county jurisdiction that is next door to us, because we felt it was appropriate to stay on the same page as everyone who is local to us. So what we have in front, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I think we're pretty familiar with the ordinance that was introduced in November and then approved earlier during this meeting. But I would like to open it up if there are any questions associated with these fees. But the goal tonight is just to introduce this resolution to you. And if we could set it for a public hearing in January for the meeting on the 11th, that would be the goal for this report this evening.
Well, you can come on the 11th, but we've got here January 12th.
Correct. There is a mistake on the first paragraph there for January 12th, but if you look at the subject line of the official staff report, I got that one correct, but I did have a typo of the 12th in the recommended action.
So it is the 11th.
The body of the staff report, it also mentions the 11th as well, and that is the correct date.
Okay. And I would just ask the question, if you're responding to false alarms, who's responding to the real ones?
Correct.
Any other questions of staff before we open up the public comment? Seeing none. Okay. Public comment is open. Now is the time if you wish to speak. We're down. Every time I say this, we lose people. On this item, please raise your hand or dial *9 on your telephone. Remarks are limited to 3 minutes and the clock will be running on the Zoom screen. Public comment is open. Going once, going twice, going gone. Okay, public comment is closed. It's up before the council for discussion. What would you like to do on this resolution?
So we heard it at the Finance Committee yesterday, and so we asked to move it to council. I would like to move it forward and open it up for public hearing on January 11th.
Okay, we have a motion so far. Do we have a second?
Second.
You got to be quicker, Perkins. We have a second from Armstrong. Any further discussion? Srca, you unmuted. I don't see a hand, but
I think
we're just preparing to vote.
I think we reviewed this in policy committee meeting.
Yes.
So we are good with it.
Okay.
Just want to make sure, like, police resources are very valuable and critical for us, so we cannot waste it on false alarms. So I think
it's been going on forever. I can tell you 40 years of it here, but that's another story we won't get into. Seeing no further discussion, we need a roll call vote. City Clerk.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Yes.
Councilmember Perkins,
Yes.
Councilmember Zafar,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Veros,
yes.
Mayor Hudson.
Yes. We're up to 5-0 again, and we are on to the much anticipated city manager comments.
Thank you, Mayor. As you're probably aware, a mask mandate is going into place starting tomorrow. So once again, we'll be masking up. The San Ramon Valley Fire Protection District is having a vaccination clinic this Thursday. People can sign up if they so desire at myturn.ca.gov, that website. Also, as you're aware, the city's begun the process of redrawing the district lines for future city council elections based on the new data from the 2020 census. Public input is key to the redistricting process. Now through February 3rd, 2022, residents are invited to submit a draft map with one or more district boundaries. To learn more about the redistricting process, accessing mapping tools, and more, you can visit the city's website. It's redistricting is on the main page under hot topics, or you can go directly there by going to sanramon.ca.gov/redistrict 2022. And also, I'd like to bring it to everybody's attention that we are starting another Government 101 class. So if you would like to apply and attend a Government 101 class, which will be held in spring of 2022, They'll be held on Mondays from 6:30 to 9 p.m. They'll be starting in February, and they'll run for about 8 weeks, they'll run for 8 weeks. The class is free, but space is limited, and generally our government 101 classes fill up very quickly. You can get applications both off of the city's website, or you're more than welcome to contact the city clerk, and she can certainly set you up with an application. And then to the most important stuff, last day to get your letters to Santa into the mailbox at City Hall is Friday, December 17th. That way your letters will make it to the North Pole on time. And we've been extremely successful. If you haven't noticed, our toy bins have been filling up at all our locations. So we have a very generous city, and it's always nice to collect the toys to give to the Toys for Tots program. And that concludes it for me.
I have a question for the city manager.
Go ahead.
Could you give us just a brief update on the condition of the city's infrastructure, having gone through about 4 consecutive days of heavy rains?
There's been no reports of problems, both from Public Works or police.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Always good news. Okay, we're on to public comment. If you have not previously spoken under public comment, that was item 4. Please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom or *9 on your telephone. Every time I say this, I lose another attendee. I probably the one that said, hey, if he's going to have open up government 101, why doesn't he make those 4 guys or 5 people, 4 guys and 1 gal that are sitting here in the picture, mandate they take the thing? They might learn anyway. I'm dragging this out. I can't get Joyce Carr or Heidi Keniston Lee to speak, so I will close the public comment. Well, no, I'll open it again because I haven't opened it. One last chance. We're down. I lost another one. Okay, we will close the public comment. It's on to city council members for their comments.
Yeah,
Everybody jump. Scott, go first.
Okay.
Scott gonna go first?
Yes. He put his hand up. He did it right.
CSA, the East Bay Regional Communication System Authority, is moving along and doing its job of keeping the radio systems for Alameda and Contra Costa County first responders up and running. We got a letter from the Department of Justice that said we had to go to an encryption process for all communications. So all the member agencies are having to upgrade their radios, and EBRCSA is responsible for upgrading all of the main radio sites and the dispatch consoles. So that's moving along. Let's see, the Lennar Homes is going to be installing a radio site to serve the Srca Preserve development at a cost of $1.6 million. And I want to thank our city staff in planning and the fire district for making sure that that's a condition of approval, because apparently when Lennar bought the entitlement rights, they didn't read those very carefully. And so it was a surprise to them to find that they had to actually put in a new radio site. And we're encouraging all members to put that in their conditions of approval, that when they build more homes, that's a condition. But overall, EBRCSA is doing well. And then I had a, let's see, the TVTC, the Tri-Valley Transportation Council, has been updating its Nexus study, which allows it to collect impact fees. And now we're into the phase where we are doing our strategic expenditure plan and updating our fee schedule. We had a workshop yesterday, and at the workshop, the 7 members concurred that with the proposed fee structure, our fee structure will collect an amount that would provide 10% of the funding for all projects up through priority 15. We have 38 projects on our list. And so the first 15, our project list absolutely ballooned this year. We went from, we had a list A, and that was way back in the beginning. Dave probably remembers list A. And then we added list B, and that was about 8 years ago. We added list B. And then 2 years ago, we added list C. Now, list C includes a flyover from westbound 680 or westbound 580 to southbound 680 at roughly $1 billion. It includes Valley Link, which is the train system that goes from Dublin towards San Joaquin County. It includes Innovate 680 and a lot of other things. So the list got really big. It's about $4 billion, but the first 15 projects are about $1 billion. So we've got a fee structure that will collect about $100 million over the 10-year life of this fee structure. We update it periodically. And so we will be providing about 10% of the funding for the top 15 projects, which includes the Iron Horse Trail Bridge at Bollinger. So there's lots of Iron Horse Trail projects on the list. Virtually every city on in the TVTC area gets a little money for Iron Horse Trail improvements, bridges and other things like that. But there's other projects also, including Valley Link. Valley Link's going to get $25 million. And the Innovate 680, I think, is going to get about $25 million from TVTC over the next 10 years. So it's going to come to the TVTC Council in January for a final vote. It needs a 6 out of 7 supermajority to approve. And then that's it. That becomes the fee structure. And then each independent agency will have to adopt the fee structure, much like we adopted the fee structure, or we're going to adopt the new fee structure for false alarms. Each agency will have to adopt the fee structure in order to get their 20% return to source and to get their projects funded. So TVTC is doing its job and moving forward.
Okay, is that all you got?
That's it.
Okay, Sabina, you're up.
I don't know if I can follow that one, especially.
You can't find $100 million, huh?
And especially Stephen had Joe recycle my script from Friday. So I did the city updates. And so it was deja vu. I'm like, wait, there were updates, same updates. Great communication strategy. Repeat. Well, I had a fun weekend. Myself and Council Member Armstrong attended the Veterans of Foreign War, because I realized there's 3 of them there, their award ceremony, and Corporal Jared Pereira was given an award for Police Officer of the Year. He's our hero. If you remember the 2 events that happened in San Ramon with this murder, who was at large from Florida, and he was part of that operation, and then the RV that tipped over and had that accident, he was part of that operation. So it was nice to see everybody be able to recognize our police officers, Danville's, and from the fire department. So that was the highlight of my weekend. That's it.
Good. Mark, then Vice Mayor Veros.
Well, I agree. That was a highlight of the weekend. It was great to see you there, council members FR, and Chief Stevens and Corporal Ferreira, and all the firefighters, dispatchers, and a policeman of the year for Danville as well. It was a great evening and well deserved. I think I might have shared this before, but I was at the Police Academy, Citizens Police Academy training that evening of the RV when it was stolen, and we were being trained. And Jared was there that evening, and he went into action, and it was something. We heard the crash, we heard everything, and kind of got to watch it all unfold. I do want to report on the Senior Advisory Committee meeting that we had back on the 6th of December, just to give everybody a quick update. They went through a process of reviewing and approving the senior needs assessment timeline. I've talked about this before. This is a needs assessment that's going to go out to assess the physical, educational, and social service needs of our 55 and over population. They'll put the survey out in March for about 6 weeks. It'll go out through a variety of mechanisms to include our Encore members. If you don't know what that is, then that means you're really young. It'll go out online. It'll go on site at the senior center through Gov Delivery and through our San Ramon email distribution process. It'll eventually get approved and then get put into a business plan for implementation later in the year. The other thing I wanted to update on was on our senior programs. They provided Parks and Community Services provided a report on programs and did a comparison to back in pre-pandemic 2019 versus today. And although some of our programs like drop-in programs and our meal program is much different than reduced compared to 2019, they are increasing now as we're sort of starting to come out a little bit of the pandemic. Specifically, the number in November for the average number of meals was 13 senior hot meals per day on site. That's Monday through Friday. And then 15 seniors picked up a frozen 5-day meal pack. The overall numbers for October for number of drop-ins was around 781 of this year. And for October, meals total was 596. You've had some good trips lately to the Jelly Belly factory and then also to Golden Gate Park. And they seniors had a choice of going to either the Young Museum or the California Academy of Sciences, kind of had their choice there. I think next trip might be to the Conservatory of Flowers at Golden Gate Park. So, and then the use of the community senior center is increasing still. At the last number was 108 hours. This is mostly for rentals and for bingo night and for senior foundation activities. But there's some rentals for church services, birthdays, weddings and showers and anniversaries and the like. But anyway, good news. Senior center is being used. Our seniors are engaged. Programs are increasing, and our park staff is doing a great job keeping all that going. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
That's plenty. Vice Mayor Burrows.
I don't have any committee reports, but on community side, last weekend I attended BAP's charity event. They granted $10,000 to 2 community nonprofit organizations that provide free meals. One is Spectrum Community Service Meals, and other one is Wheels Program and Wishing Wells freemeals.org program. So that's that was on last weekend, and the other one is nice to see a couple of our council members at San Ramon Baambag run. So it was well attended. It's nice.
We didn't run it. We were just there.
We were just handing over the medals, or so it was fun and nice to see everyone in outdoors. So that's pretty much from my side.
Thank you. Let's see if I can do 3 things in 2 minutes. First, there is $7 million in grant funding available to install new publicly accessible EV charging stations. I wish caller and user 1 was here to hear that. This charge program will fund the installation of publicly accessible charging facilities for light-duty electric vehicles at workplaces, destinations, transit parking locations. As we're getting money to do our little transit station, we may want to go after some more money to put some units in there. Along transportation corridors like the Iron Horse Trail and at multi-unit dwelling facilities like we're building along the trail. The Air District will prioritize projects that install electric vehicle charging at multi-unit dwellings, specifically affordable and below market rate housing sites, and projects located in environmental justice communities. We're actually in a care areas, community air risk. It kind of moves us up the ladder, and public agencies and private businesses can recoup up to 85% of the costs. The Other thing I wanted to bring up earlier tonight, I talked in one of the other meetings about some of the things we'll look at. I think we should look at when we get into the retreat. And I'm reminded of this one statement that Donna Kurger and I heard a long time ago on a panel that said financing is not funding. You can get all the promises in the world, but if you don't get the money in the escrow, you don't build the housing, and that's going to be the problem going forward. Oddly enough, Sridhar, the person that was on that panel when I heard it was Bijal Patel from, I guess that's Sabina's district. Maybe she'll want to come over here for transportation. And last, on a very serious note, I cannot thank the residents of San Ramon enough. If you want to see something that will just warm your heart, you're going to have to do it quick. Come into City Hall and see the amount of toys for tots that were distributed here. And tomorrow morning, they're going to be picked up. It could fill my office. It could fill your office. There are that many toys. I don't ever remember this many gifts being brought in for kids at a time where it's probably needed the most. It was just a fantastic job from the residents of San Ramon, and you should pat yourself on the back because you have done something this year I've never seen before in the 30 years I've been at City Hall. Kudos to the residents of San Ramon. Seeing no further comments, I don't see any hands, so we will adjourn to the next regularly scheduled meeting, which will be held on, is Denton still here? That's January 11th, 2022. Thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful, well, we'll be back again, won't we?
See you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Twice.
We just can't get away.